Hey everyone, in this video we're going to be looking at Chapter 9 of Pragmatic Programmer, which is called Pragmatic Projects. We're on the last real chapter of the book, and what a journey it's been. Thanks for coming along with me on the ride. There is a Chapter 10, but it's a pretty short epilogue, and I'll still do a video for that. But anyways, this chapter is about zooming out to a broader perspective and thinking about projects at the team level rather than just at the individual level. So we're talking about ideas and tools that make collaboration and releasing products much smoother than they might otherwise be. So the first section is called Pragmatic Teams, and it offers a blueprint of what it means for a team to be a team. To be more specific, teams should have a few qualities, like being around 10 to 12 people at most. Teams that are much bigger than that realistically don't have relationships with each other. Ideally, there should be stability amongst the membership of teams as well. If people are always coming and going, it's going to be hard to foster an environment where people feel stable enough to be productive for extended periods of time, which is what it takes to build anything that's sufficiently complex. So let's take some time to think about some previous topics and why they might be significant here. One of the previous ideas we talked about was the phrase no broken windows, basically saying that if people see entropy around them, they'll end up contributing to it, whether purposely or not. That's why, as a team, it's important to hold each other to really high standards, to do refactoring and cleaning up of the code base and keeping it up to date as much as possible. When you do things like care about quality, that care and diligence rubs off on other people too, and that starts or continues a virtuous cycle. One of the things you'll need to think through is how to allocate your time with regards to building new things versus being a good steward of what's already there. So the authors suggest exactly this, spending your time not just on incremental development, but also on maintaining existing systems, experimenting with new tech, and up-leveling the skills of everyone on the team. When experimenting with new tech, don't outsource your due diligence to others and adopt just because it's new and hot. Apply it in some finite context in your own scope of projects, and then, if it's suitable, you can adopt elsewhere. Another aspect for teams to act on in service of being pragmatic is in communication. It's a big deal when a team is united, both amongst itself and also in its interactions with others outside the team. The authors suggest coming up with cute names for projects as a way to foster the unity needed for greater communication. I've seen this is surprisingly true in real life. Another way to get teams to gel is to help them invest in common tooling, such as their IDEs and automation for processes. And last but not least, the authors suggest that the best thing you can do to empower a team is to know when to stop trying to mess with it and just let them live. The next section is called Coconuts Don't Cut It, and it's named after the term or concept of a cargo cult, which is a historical reference to the islanders of Vanuatu and Papua New Guinea, which believe if they worship a symbol of modernism, that they'll be blessed with gifts of that more technologically advanced system. It might sound silly, but development teams do it too when they call themselves agile or use other tools without really understanding if they're doing it right or they're even getting the benefits of doing it. So this leads the authors to say that we should do what works and not just what is fashionable, and to experiment with different processes and tools until you land on one that works for the most people in the team. Next, we have a section called Pragmatic Starter Kit, which is basically a rapid-fire set of ideas and tools to try and see if they work for the context of your business, product, and team. To start out with, having everyone coalesce around a version control tool like Git is an absolute no-brainer. Without it, managing to interweave everyone's changes would be more or less impossible. I think this is pretty obvious, and it doesn't require much explanation unless you're very new. But in a short summary, the need for version control arises from the fact that everyone is making changes to the same files in a code base, and there has to be a way to manage all the changes being combined together. If you look at a service like Google Sheets or Google Docs, you can see version control happening in real time as multiple people make edits. But the point is that while that is automatic, using Git is manual and gives the team more granular control over when changes are added into the master branch. The chapter moves on to talking about testing, and in particular, outlines several different types of testing: unit testing, integration testing, validation and verification, and performance testing. It emphasizes the need to test in an environment that closely matches the production environment to prevent bugs. The authors also highlight the importance of testing the tests themselves to ensure their effectiveness in detecting bugs. So there are 4 different kinds of tests covered. First is unit tests. Unit testing is the process of testing individual software components or modules to ensure that they work correctly. It's important to test each module in isolation from the rest of the system to ensure that it works correctly on its own. Unit testing is the foundation of all the other forms of testing that follow. Next, integration testing is the process of testing how multiple software components or subsystems work together to ensure that they work correctly as a system. Integration testing is necessary because even if each component passes its individual unit test, it doesn't guarantee that they will work together correctly when combined. Integration testing helps to identify any defects or inconsistencies in the interactions between the components. Validation testing is the process of testing whether a system meets the requirements and expectations of its users. Verification is the process of testing whether a system meets its functional and non-functional requirements, as well as any relevant industry standards. Validation and verification help ensure that the software meets the needs of its users and is fit for purpose. Finally, performance testing is the process of testing a system's ability to perform under expected real-world conditions. It helps to identify any performance issues, such as slow response times or crashes, and ensures that the system can handle the expected load, number of users, or transactions per second. The last section is about signing your work, and it talks about the importance of making it known who did what, both for accountability, for credit, and so that people in the future know whom to ask for help if they need it. Personally, I've been signing every commit that I make in any code base for the last 6 or 7 years, with the exception of a couple where I specifically was not proud of some code that could only be described as inevitable. And it's been good for my psyche, so I wholeheartedly recommend the same for you as well. So that's all for this one. My name is Daniel, and I make programming related videos, sometimes coding tutorials, and others more abstract like book chapter summaries. I do it not only because I love teaching you, but I love learning for myself as well. So if you found this video and this series helpful or thought-provoking, I'd appreciate a like, subscribe, and comment. I love hearing from you, and we'll see you all in the next one.